Good afternoon. I'm really excited to share my personal story. I'm sorry for having the computer way up here, but I can see it. Okay, so cash practice, why should I care? We all care. This presentation was initially done for Physician Summit in Texas last November, and I'm really happy to talk to this audience. So why should I care? Physicians Foundation, this was in 2012, did a survey and said that 36% of physicians in the United States would practice independently in 2013. I love this second part. It says 1 in 3 of these are expected to resort to cash-based models, as if it's a bad thing. I don't know if anybody knows Dr. Paul Shea. He's a radiologist in Colorado. He founded Foundation for Individual Rights in Medicine. He writes for Forbes, and he expressed the opinion that over the next decade we likely see 2 tracks in primary care: doctors who are happy, they're in concierge or direct pay practice, and others who were practicing assembly line medicine. And he said that if you don't choose which track you're on, you may end up on a track you don't like. I like this as a quote from Machiavelli. And my husband is the consummate entrepreneur. He comes from a small business family. And he says entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there's little difference between obstacle and opportunity and are able to turn both to their advantage. Well, we have a plentiful number of obstacles right now. So terminology for cash-based practice. I like the direct pay term. Mine could be called a cash practice, but we take credit cards and checks and plastic. But the concierge, I mean, really in the free market, there's a lot of different options. You know, does it work for you? Does it work for enough patients? So my model has this really a dream that I had, imagined for many years of transparent prices. I dreamed it up myself, my own price list with no CPT. The patient pays in cash, check, or credit card at the time of. It's posted in the office, just like I remember my pediatrician having many years ago. Payment is expected at time service is rendered. And I have to say, in almost 3 years of cash practice, that we have one patient who stood us up for $10. So we have people who forget their wallet or they forget their credit card, and we say, well, you're on the honor system. We don't keep accounts, and we expect you to, call us with your credit card number or bring it by within, 1 business day. And they all do. It's really shocking and really nice. So patients with coverage can submit their own claim. We don't submit claims for them. So that's my model. So I can try to speed up a little bit here. Some of the recent press about cash practice: Forbes asks, is concierge medicine the correct choice? Medscape, cash-only practices doctors are rethinking their objections. Wall Street Journal, that there's an increase in number in doctors opting out. CNN Money says doctors are, down at the end, expecting patients to pony up with cash. Breitbart, I love this. HHS attempts to counter reports that doctors are opting out of Medicare. And this last one is the best. MedPAC. They're not seeing any alarming trends. Oh, but there is a trend. So Medscape talks about the trend in 1 year, up from 4% to 6% in the cash only. American Academy of Family Physicians, up from 3% to 4% in I think that's a year or 2 years. And then WebMD up 2% in 1 year. So there's the trend. 6%, that's as of 2013. So we're going to talk about my journey, the decision to leave my previous insurance contracted practice, steps required to reinvent or rebuild from ground up my practice, and then results. So there's a lot of different models possible, so hopefully there'll be some people here today who will benefit from this and design their own model. So we're going to start with this process of deciding to get out. Here's the fishbowl and the fish in there with all these things that everybody's been talking about: forced pay cuts, moral basis. Who do you work for? I've always felt I work for the patient, but it's getting harder. Bureaucratic nightmare, RAC, Stark, whistleblowers, on and on. what do we call it? Unaffordable Care Act. That was really, for me, the straw that broke the camel's back. HIPAA. So again, what do you do when you're stuck in this fishbowl with all these obstacles? Play the game. I think that's what most doctors are still doing, and they think that they can win, and they should listen to Dr. Sewell's talk. Self-sacrifice, I did a lot of that. You're trying to maintain your high standards, and yet you're just getting killed with paperwork, and it's not working. You're going to bend, or you're going to break at some point. You can get bought out, work for the government. I have a number of friends who work for the FDA. They have limited liability. They have better hours. They have benefits, but that wouldn't work for me. I'm too much of a rebel. Leave medicine. I really like medicine. I wasn't ready to leave medicine. Plus, most of us need to earn a living. So, started my direct pay practice. There's the fish jumping out. Search for knowledge, and then a resulting philosophy. I started really reading. So, on the internet's a wonderful tool. A colleague of mine, an APS member, started sending me the Take Back Medicine series. I started reading it. It made a lot of sense to me. CERMO's been mentioned. It's physician social networking in part, and so you're talking to other people that you haven't met yet. Facebook, articles, more reading. Atlas Shrugged really was helpful for me for getting my mind right, because I really had this kind of victim attitude of everybody else's needs really had taken over my life. And so I found that very, very helpful. Road to Serfdom I read, really historic about increased government central planning, and I love it. I have an original copy now. Versions of the Hippocratic Oath, you can find that on the app site. Very interesting to read the Soviet Oath. It sounds like a lot of what people are saying right now. Thou Shalt Prosper, I highly recommend. I haven't even read all of it, but the first chapter or two helps that it is morally good to exchange value with another human being. That profit is good if it is obtained in an honest manner between two people who agree that you're both increasing value. 2 Days That Ruined Your Healthcare, written by an internist who is now deceased. I got that at a previous APS meeting, my first APS meeting, I think, as I was sitting next to the Pierces who were here. Wonderful short history of government interaction with healthcare, social interaction. Again, I'm also a member of Docs for Patient Care, went to Congress twice, have a lot of friends in the organization. I did figure out rather quickly when I went to Congress that Congress was not going to fix my problem. Congress was not going to rescue me. Who is going to rescue me? Well, I've got a lot of help from apps, but I got really a lot of help from my husband, who helped design my new practice. Again, Sermo and Facebook. Questions answered. I was really reluctant to leave my partnership because I liked all those people. I'd been there a long time. And I did figure out that I needed to make my own practice. I couldn't do it kind of within that location. Would I have enough business? Would I make enough money? My team of experts, I always like to put Dr. Orient there because she had a big impact on me. Jeremy, Andy, some friends of mine at Docs for Patient Care. Actually, Dr. Sewell, he's not listed up there. People who, I listened to and I learned. Dr. Clements, Dr. Harris, a urologist, Dr. Watson were people who personally talked to me and helped me design my practice. I have a consultant, former Oregon Senator Ken Messerly, who has taught me a lot of things in dealing with the legislature. One is that a lot of the politicians really don't even have a philosophy. They don't even really understand. They're like, wow, that sounds good. So I got a lot of support from people who have either no philosophy or philosophy that's quite different from mine, and yet they liked standing up for a small physician. So that was interesting. Mr. Gary Weeks, former Oregon insurance commissioner, extremely helpful to me. And then my attorney and my accountant and my attorney, part of my team. So I've always felt that the patient is the reason I'm in practice. So here's my philosophy. But then along the way, some of the time, I forgot about me. And we have good artwork in our office, too. Those are some original oils that were given by watercolors from my in-laws. We share them with our patients. So I work for the patient, and I work for me on a mutually agreeable basis. My standards are high. It's Hippocrates. I do not practice fringe or questionable medicine. It's all mainstream medicine. science-informed medicine, but with very attention to the individual. Charity is, it's basically, I get to decide. I do some charity. I limit it, of course, because I have to. That's reality. And I get to decide who is in need of a discounted fee. I have true price transparency. People talk about that all the time, but nobody does it hardly. And I love this. I'm not in the business to enrich the AMA or do insurance paperwork. So that's my philosophy. My practice is founded on my philosophy. So implementation, take a deep breath. I took a lot of deep breaths in the year leading up. We had our bedroom littered with stacks of papers and books and computer things, and then the results and lessons learned. So here's the nitty-gritty: infrastructure, transition, business setup, administrative. I'll go through fairly quickly. You need to find a place, decide whether you're going to rent, renovate. We renovated a building. This was our building that my husband and I own, along with our bank. We like our bank. They're a good business partner. We purchased equipment. We also purchased quite a bit of equipment off of eBay. We still managed to spend a lot of money. We have a beautiful facility. I say we, again, my husband he has his own company right next door. Signs. So it's hard to see there on the building. We have a beautiful locally made sign out of sandblasted redwood with lacquer and gold leaf. We want to create a certain image. But this sign here, I think it's tasteful, but it says what people need to know. This is dermatology practice. We're taking new patients, and there's the phone number. Optout and Medicare, the best site for advice is apps. It's really very straightforward. I timed the opening of my new business to a quarterly opt-out date. Negotiating for equipment, I got some equipment that was from my previous practice. Settle accounts receivable. It really wasn't difficult. I got some money out of an IPA. That was the best investment I ever made. My IPA stock. Personal health insurance, need to come up with that. These are just steps for myself and for my employees. Notify my partnership. I love this picture. Those are not my former partners, but I told them first what I was planning to do, and boy, did I get the looks. And we're on very good terms still. I'm their lab director. I spent a lot of time talking to my patients. About half my practice was Medicare, and I think this is a really key point. Because I was always kind of, I would say, whining. My husband said, when you talk to your patients, don't talk about you, don't talk about your problems, talk about them. Very, very true. He's very entrepreneurial, as I said, but he's also has an interest in marketing. Marketing is communication. Marketing is not necessarily advertisement, and I don't do advertisement. Marketing is communication. So how will this impact you? What's good in this for you? And then I disenrolled in Medicaid. I thank Jeremy for that. Actually, I just found the Department of Human Services on the state internet, and you find their address. You call them up. You send them a letter that says, I want to disenroll from Medicare. You get Medicaid. You get a letter back, and it's done. So more implementation steps, computer versus paper. This is my husband's side. They do a lot of things on the cloud now, but they have a whole pile of servers over there. And in spite of all that, I decided on paper. But we made our forms on the computer. So one of the forms, we have a lot of really nice forms, was that payment policy. Well, it's very straightforward. You pay at the time of. What's so hard about it? But it really spells it out, and it's really nice, and people read it, and they get it. Patient records. This is one of my office staff. This is a little over a year ago, and we haven't filled up the bottom. We're pretty soon going to have a storage problem, so a solvable storage problem. No CPT. Time-based fee schedule, and it's right in my lobby and on my website. We have a website, and people can see the fee schedule on there. We offer wireless to our patients, wireless access. That's one of the things apparently that people really appreciate, along with good coffee. We have that too. Patient scheduling, another office staff of mine. We have a little window because I like privacy. So when people are calling in a prescription, the people out in the lobby don't hear that their neighbor's getting a prescription. So again, marketing. your logo. You're always marketing, but again, you want to do it in a way that represents your professionalism. So accounting, that's my accountant. Have to have a good accountant, very critical part of your team. My lawyer is setting up, I have a limited liability company. And then pathology, this is absolutely critical. I started working on this good 9 months before I went into practice, including, I don't know if I should brag about the wonderful price, but anyway, we have a wonderful price which includes FedEx. And the price that I charge for pathology specimens passed through, there's no markup on it. And, you know, they actually found us, another APPS member. So when I have a wonderful portal, I get notified when pathology is ready. Employees, this employee has been with me for a long time, and she came with me. This is another employee of mine who I specifically hired who had more of a business side. So you're always training. And then insurance, you need your own insurance for, you know, your building, your legal liability. I ended up changing liability carriers because I dropped out of the OMA because I found out they're not on my side either. Oregon Medical Association, I got mad at them. So this is a business quote. There's a lot of good things from business. Doctors sometimes look down on business, but business conducted properly, mutually agreeable basis, there's a lot of good things. The win-win, it just encapsulates it. But the best way to predict the future is to create it. So results, I'll share quickly results. You have to be profitable. We're profitable from day one. If you're not living in reality. You know, I get these emails about how much you can earn as a dermatologist in these various different places, and it's huge. But I'm not willing to move, and I'm not willing to do what you have to do. I've never practiced Herdim through dermatology. My income was declining since about 2006, and my workload was going up. So I have passed where I would be in my previous practice, and I don't work as much. Practice is more medically interested. That's the atypical nevus, so there's a little more on that later. I have digital mole mapping now, which is really hard to do with an insurance-based medicine. Very, very important. Highly recommend, strongly recommend that you make a financial plan. My husband did it for me. Find somebody who knows how to do it or figure out how to do it to make sure that you're on target. I mean, this is reality. You've got to live within your means. And so joy, somebody else mentioned that. I have so much more fun in practice now. I mean, I just really have fun days. It's still stressful. I still work hard, but it's way more fun. Oh, anybody like Ayn Rand? That's above my desk. Who is John Galt? But the point here was that I have more time to go online, do research about my practice. So I have my life back. I did my dream trip with my husband. That's me before I slid down that slope at Switzerland last summer. I didn't do that anymore. My visits, I don't have to think about, am I meeting, to have all the bullet points. I don't have to think about that. This is another meeting where I spoke. This is really fun. So I have time to participate in advocacy. It says new profitable services. Probably not so profitable. This is a digital mole mapping, but it's a passion of mine, early detection of melanoma. Small businesses, very nimble, very adaptable. You want to change it, it's not working out, you change it. You don't have to ask permission. I love this. These guys, this is a local barbershop group, and they come and sing to me every Valentine's. So, yeah, community appreciation. And then this is huge, too, for anybody thinking about doing something like this. Every practice is different, every specialty is different, but new and untapped markets, well, again, the high deductible market, the uninsured market, yes, they're still uninsured. It's a great market for me. Lessons learned. You got to get your head right about it. I really had to stop being a victim and start thinking about running a business. And yes, it is. I feel very strongly it is a business. It's a very wonderful business and a professional business based on the Hippocratic Oath. You have to run lean at first. It's okay if it's not for them. You just need enough people, and you wish them well, and some of those patients come back. Thank you. I got to hustle. It's okay to take checks. We have a payment system, merchant system. If you build it, they will come. I'll just kind of speed through this here. Results. Location's important, of course. Prior reputation. I'm a very patient-centered doctor. I'm very unpaternalistic. And, it is you. What do you have that makes you special? So there's a lot of things you have to look at. What is it that's special about you? What can you... And the patients get it so much faster than the other doctors. And this lady wanted to be photographed. That's part of my lobby there. She wanted to be photographed. They get it. It's not about politics in your practice. I have people all over. We don't talk politics if theirs is really different than mine. But they come anyway, if it suits them. Yeah, there's a huge untapped market for cash practice. We need an internist in my community. If anybody wants to do cash practice, we need an internist desperately. Patients do spend their own money differently. It's great. I love it when they look at you and they hesitate and they're like, and you mean, how much does it cost? Yes. They can't hardly spit it out. Charity, when you give it yourself, people don't look at it the same way. They don't view it as a right in the same way, and they say thank you. And they sometimes pay more than what you charged. Dermatology is particularly non-covered services, but I think that's true in a lot of specialties, things that people want and deserve to have for a reasonable fee. Challenges, and I guess I probably better stop. Anybody who wants to talk about what other challenges there are, we certainly can do that. And that's it. Thank you for, that was the ad for this workshop. Thank you.